Yay, I'm mildly popular for some reason. But seriously, thank you guys for liking, subscribing, and commenting. For this monumentous occasion, I thought I'd do something a little special. Lately, I've been getting a lot of requests to review fan-related things, and so I thought I'd start with one of the bigger projects out there, Double Rainboom. I don't suppose it's particularly fair, but I'm going to be using my current rating system. Everything I like gets a point, and everything I don't loses a point. Double Rainboom was a majorly hyped project, slated to be the first ever fan-made episode. It wasn't, Snowdrop was, but that's besides the point. The makers touted it to have show-quality animation, and being as close to the show as possible, and that already set them up for failure. We're going to ignore the trailers for the project and just take what we have. So let's begin. After almost a minute and a half of opening credits, the story opens up with Twilight messing around with some chemicals. Alright, let's get this out of the way. The animation is a bit stilted. It's definitely not as fluid as the actual show, but it is pretty impressive for a student project. The voice acting is also passable. Rainbow Dash sneaks up on Twilight and causes some potion she was working on to fling into the air. Luckily, Rainbow catches it, and she was there because
I snuck in. I was wondering what kind of egghead stuff you were doing.
Most of the time, Rainbow doesn't care what Twilight does. In fact, this scene gives her the personality of a Flanderized Pinkie Pie. Twilight takes the potion back and attempts to finish it. An explosion is heard, and the two of them are trapped in darkness. The potion creates a plethora of smoke and a troll face. Why? And then it disappears, and the vial falls to the floor, mysteriously with a cork in it. Whatever the hell that was about, Rainbow thought it was awesome, and starts flying around the library, or the laboratory? This is not Rainbow. This is much closer to Pinkie Pie. At least the Pinkie Pie from A Friend Indeed with absolutely no consideration for others. Rainbow wants to know what the potion does, but all Twilight tells her is that it could be dangerous. Rainbow comes up with 5 different possibilities, all of which are wrong. That's another thing we have to get out of the way. This episode is almost 30 minutes long. That's because that was the limit the makers needed to hit, but the story clearly didn't warrant that time limit, so this is bolstered with a ton of filler. I'll talk about that towards the end.
Because I don't really know what it is.
You've been working on this potion since Magic Kindergarten. Nice reference, by the way. And yet, you don't know what it does. Twilight explains to Rainbow that just because she made it, she doesn't know if it's completely safe to drink. You've been working on it since Magic Kindergarten.
Theory, this potion is supposed to be a talent enhancer.
Okay, do you know what it does, or don't you? I guess that she does know what it does because she explains it in an animation style similar to that of a Candlelight Wedding, where she basically says that she's full of bullshit, and the potion enhances talent with several examples that go on way too long. By the way, do you know anything about this particular style? Yeah, it's a lot easier to animate than the show quality animation that this project kept boasting. After Twilight runs down all the other main 6, Rainbow wants to know what would happen if she drank it. Okay, Rainbow is not stupid. After 4 different goddamn examples, I think she'd know that a talent enhancer would enhance her ability to fly. So Rainbow steals the potion because she has absolutely no respect for her friend's belongings, and she drinks it. Then Twilight freaks out and hooks up Rainbow to a machine to record the effects. I don't like where this is going. I swear, if you go cupcakes on me. Actually, that doesn't happen. Do you know what does happen? A whole lot of nothing. Then Twilight releases Rainbow from the machine and says that she can now fly to test the effects of the potion. Rainbow flies up and crashes through the ceiling, and eventually realizes that she's incredibly high in the sky.
How did I get all the way up here?
I don't know. Let's think really hard about this. You tried to fly, you crashed through a roof, and now you're way up high in the sky. Honestly, I don't know how you got up there. Seriously, Rainbow isn't exactly the smartest pony around, but she has basic common sense. In fact, she's got more common sense than Twilight half the time. So Rainbow starts flying around the town instead of up high in the sky because I don't know. And then we have a plethora of gags. Hey, it's like that other episode with way too much filler where the joke failed. I wonder which one is better. And then there's this joke with Derpy where 2 pots fall on her head and another one crushes her muffin. This is a masterclass on how to destroy a joke. It'd be funny if the first time her eyes were underped and then the pot made them derped. Either way, the first time we laugh. The second time, we have a meh reaction. Then when it crushes her muffin, we hate ourselves for laughing, and then we hate you for animating it. Then pinball joke, then reference joke, then I don't know, then another reference joke, even more pointless than the last. Finally, Rainbow starts flying higher into the sky and into space. Why is the moon Domo? I mean, the troll face I kinda get. They think internet memes are funny. And I get the Scootaloo chicken thing, but why is the moon Domo? That's not a fan thing. That's not even an internet meme. Why is the moon Domo? Then Rainbow instantly gets the idea to do a double Rainboom. Sure, why not? Ponies didn't think that a single Rainboom could be done, so they definitely have heard of a double Rainboom. So Rainbow tries to do the double Rainboom, and several fandom nods because internet. As Rainbow starts falling, she starts turning into an actual rainbow. Twilight teleports the field and begs Rainbow to slow down.
The side effects could be disastrous! Rainbow Dash? Rainbow Dash?
She's in the goddamn sky. I don't think she can hear you whispering. Rainbow performs a double Rainboom and turns Ponyville into Fallout 3. A bunch of townsfolk look forlorn and sad at their destroyed homes, but we're going to ignore that plot. We've got a much more interesting one. Twilight wanders to the forest, gets a Back to the Future reference, and finds that Rainbow went through a wormhole. And this wormhole leads her to Townsville. Let me explain exactly what's wrong with this. Every single trailer for Double Rainboom led people to believe that this would be as show accurate as possible, and kept the crossover plotline a total secret. Not to mention that there was nothing previously in this episode that suggested crossover. If you're going to do one, fine, but let us know up front, and don't blindside us with a trademark notice halfway through. This may seem harsh, but in your own words.
This is what you get for not thinking ahead.
The city of Townsville is under attack!
Oh good, glad to see that things haven't changed one bit in 10 years. The Powerpuff Girls show up and beat up the monster, and it's some classic nostalgic action. Until the monster defeats the Powerpuff Girls. That never happened before. Maybe they're having an off day. Rainbow Dash shows up and basically beats the monster up so badly that it decides to surrender. Then the Powerpuff Girls rise up and beat up the monster, who is clearly hesitating. Rule number 1 of a crossover is make sure that you've got both universes correct. The Powerpuff Girls would not beat up a hesitating monster. Okay, maybe Buttercup would, but Blossom probably wouldn't, and Bubbles definitely wouldn't. And it's vice versa about trying to take home a Rainbow Pony. Oh yeah, the Powerpuff Girls try to take Rainbow Dash home, so she flies off.
No rush, girls. Let's give her a head start.
What the hell? I don't know who that is, but that's not Blossom. A headhunter maybe, but not any of the Powerpuff Girls. After a brief chase scene, well, brief by Double Rainboom standards, Rainbow's wings give out, and she falls to the ground. A goodie, a fandom cliché.
What's going on?
You've broken your wings for the 11th bajillionth time in a fanfiction. Actually, this is a side effect of the potion. It makes her fly fast, and then it takes away her ability to fly. This is a public service announcement, kids. Don't use steroids. Rainbow starts to hear the ghost of Pinkie Pie. Speaking of creepy, why are there no cars in the city's crossroads? Pinkie Pie uses her fandom fourth wall breaking powers to take Rainbow Dash home. And then Blossom asks the audience where she went. Then the Powerpuff Girls lament the loss of their pony. Yeah, that's what I want to see after all these years. Cartoons from my past crying.
I can talk.
You're not a pony!
Is Bubbles threatening to beat the dog up? What the hell is with this crossover? So, Rainbow is back in Ponyville, and after Twilight gives her an angry glare, Rainbow sees to destroy Ponyville. And then, like a normal episode of Friendship is Magic, we get a lesson. Don't take things that don't belong to you. How about this for a lesson? Give us the product you advertised, and don't hype the genre of your product until halfway through it. If you didn't hype this up so much, then I personally would have been a lot more impressed, and the critics would have been a lot more lenient on it. Let's make this clear. The only thing still impressive about Double Rainboom is that they actually got Hasbro's permission to use their characters. Don't know if they got Cartoon Network's permission though. Even if I was impressed, I probably still wouldn't like this, because the pieces just don't fit. The story is just an excuse to make the animation both as easy and impressive as possible. That's what I got from Twilight's explanation and the entirety of the Powerpuff Girls universe. Powerpuff Girls were made with easy to draw shapes, as a lot of cartoons were then, because they didn't have things like Flash to make more complex designs like in, say, Friendship is Magic. It's horribly paced, filled with an amazing amount of filler. Floating around on YouTube is a show-length edit that brings it down to 22 minutes, and the plot stays exactly the same. But what they used as filler baffles me. It's constant pop culture references and internet memes, or what they think are references. And then there's the major problems. Rainbow Dash is totally out of character throughout the entire episode. She wouldn't care what Twilight was doing, she would not take something from her friend, she has a solid grounding in common sense, and most importantly, she's an adult. If you picked Pinkie to do this, it'd still be wrong. She wouldn't steal from her friends either, but it would be a lot closer to the show accurate you kept bragging about. If you're going to make an episode like this, start with the story. Make sure you've got the whole thing done and checked over, and then you start to animate. But what you should mostly get out of this review is do not overhype your product, or you're just setting yourself and everyone else up for disappointment.